INFJs are known for their kindness, depth, and empathy. They're listeners, helpers, people who try to see the good in others. But what many don't realize is that behind that calm presence is a quiet strength and a sharp awareness that makes them incredibly difficult to manipulate. Manipulators rely on confusion, emotional control, and misdirection. They thrive when others don't question their actions or hesitate to speak up. But INFJs don't fall easily into those traps. Even when they appear quiet, they're always thinking, always watching, always connecting the dots. This is what makes them dangerous to manipulators, not dangerous in a violent or aggressive way, but dangerous because they can't be fooled for long. INFJs may give someone the benefit of the doubt in the beginning, but once they see what's really going on, they don't ignore it. They see the lies hidden behind polite words. They sense emotional games. They notice when things feel off, even if no one else sees it. And because they're deeply principled, they refuse to play along with dishonesty or manipulation, no matter how subtle it is. That combination, deep empathy and powerful intuition, creates something unique. INFJs can read emotional energy like a map, and they have the courage to follow what they see, even if it means confronting someone others are too afraid to challenge. In this video, we'll explore 6 reasons INFJs are so difficult to manipulate, and why that makes them quietly dangerous to anyone who tries. It's not about being harsh. It's about being awake. Let's start with the first thing that makes INFJs so hard to fool. Thing number 1, intuitive pattern recognition. Manipulators rarely show their true colors all at once. They move slowly, pushing boundaries, twisting facts, planting seeds of guilt or confusion. But INFJs are built to notice patterns. Their minds naturally track emotional details, behaviors, and motives, even when no one else is paying attention. This pattern recognition isn't something INFJs force. It happens in the background. They remember the way someone changed their story over time. They catch the shift in tone when someone wants control. They feel the difference between kindness and strategy. Where most people hear only the words, INFJs hear the intention behind them. If someone keeps joking in a way that belittles others, or suddenly plays the victim when questioned, the INFJ sees it. They may not react immediately, but inside, they're putting the pieces together. They also remember. INFJs might not say much in the moment, but they track what was said, how it was said, and how it felt. Over time, they start to spot the manipulation loop: guilt, control, withdrawal, then charm. They recognize it for what it is: a cycle. And once they've seen the cycle, they can't unsee it. They stop giving the benefit of the doubt. They stop explaining away the discomfort. They start paying close attention and begin planning how to step out of the trap. This is what makes INFJs dangerous to manipulators. They don't react right away. They observe. They listen. They wait. And then when they've seen enough, they act, not with panic, but with clarity. By the time the manipulator realizes the INFJ is onto them, it's often too late. The INFJ already knows the game. They have already disconnected emotionally. And once that happens, the manipulator's control begins to fall apart. Because you can't confuse someone who already sees the truth. And INFJs, with their quiet pattern recognition, see it faster than anyone expects. Thing number 2, emotional boundaries with inner strength. INFJs are known for their empathy, but what's often overlooked is their emotional strength. They may feel deeply, but they don't easily lose themselves. This balance between sensitivity and control is what makes them resistant to manipulation. Manipulators often prey on emotion. They rely on guilt, pressure, or flattery to get what they want. They look for people who can't say no or who doubt their own feelings. But INFJs aren't easy targets. They might listen patiently, but that doesn't mean they'll be moved. Over time, INFJs develop strong emotional boundaries. They know what feels right and what doesn't. And when something feels off, they don't ignore it. They might stay quiet at first, but inside, they're building a wall. Not out of fear, but out of self-respect. They also don't need constant validation. This makes them harder to control. Manipulators often try to twist people's emotions to keep power. But INFJs, once grounded, can see through the noise. They trust their inner voice more than outside approval. This inner strength is subtle but powerful. INFJs don't need to win every argument. They don't need to expose every manipulator. What they do need is peace, and if keeping that peace means walking away from someone toxic, they will. Their empathy is strong, but it's not unlimited. They may care deeply, but once they realize someone is using their kindness, that care starts to fade. And when it does, they don't argue, they disconnect. What makes this especially dangerous to manipulators is that it's not emotional revenge. It's emotional freedom. The INFJ simply decides not to play the game anymore. They protect their space without explanation, and the manipulator loses the control they thought they had. Because in the end, the INFJ's strength isn't in how much they feel. It's in how wisely they choose who gets to feel close to them. Reason number 3, moral clarity and integrity. INFJs are guided by an internal compass rooted in strong personal values. They don't bend their ethics to please others, and they don't compromise their integrity just to avoid conflict. That firmness makes them difficult targets for manipulation. Manipulators rely on confusion. They twist facts, reframe events, or mix truth and falsehood until the victim feels unsure about what they believe. But INFJs hold tight to their moral truths. They may question their feelings, but not their ethics. For example, if someone tries to guilt-trip an INFJ into doing something against their principles, the INFJ senses it immediately. Their core values push back. They might pause to consider another side, but they won't betray themselves. This clarity is protective. Many people stay stuck in manipulation because they doubt their judgment. They wonder, am I overreacting? Maybe it's my fault. INFJs don't do that. Their strong sense of right and wrong helps them cut through the noise and trust their own moral intuition. Manipulators often expect compliance from those who seem kind. They assume people won't resist. INFJs may be kind, but they're not easily coerced. They'll stand firm when being asked to betray integrity, even at the risk of awkwardness or loss. This moral backbone surprises manipulators. They expect conflict, emotional chaos, or confusion, but instead find calm resolve. INFJs speak firmly, even calmly, and that confidence takes away the manipulator's power. Being ethically grounded doesn't make INFJs cold, it makes them reliable. They won't let others cross their boundaries just because it's more comfortable to go along. And once they've made a decision, they live it. That kind of strength commands respect and disarms manipulation. Reason number 4, strategic silence and observation. Manipulators use silence and pressure to destabilize their targets, confusing them into speaking first, revealing too much, or sounding defensive. INFJs rarely fall into that trap. They understand the power of silence and observation. Instead of rushing to fill quiet moments, INFJs often hold space. They wait. They quietly watch how people act when no one's talking. These moments reveal more than words. Manipulators may fidget, shift tone, hint at secrets, or act differently under silence. INFJs don't need to respond immediately. They know time gives clarity. While others may react, INFJs wait until they understand the full picture. By holding back, they force the manipulator to either expose more of their plan or drop it. This patience is unexpected. Manipulators usually expect quick reactions, missteps, or anxious excuses. They thrive on urgency, but INFJs refuse to play by that rule. Their calm silence makes manipulators uncomfortable. Plus, silence gives INFJs time to verify internal questions. Does this align with what they said before? Is this behavior consistent with their character? When enough inconsistencies appear, the INFJ has all the evidence they need, again, before saying anything. That space gives INFJs power. They can choose when and how to respond, or even choose not to. Silence isn't absence of power, it's command of it. Reason number 5. Calm. Direct confrontation. When the time is right, INFJs don't hesitate to confront manipulation. But instead of a dramatic outburst, they approach it calmly and precisely. They speak clearly, concisely, and without emotional escalation. This makes them even more dangerous to manipulators. Emotional confrontation plays into manipulative strategies, gaslighting, distraction, emotional piles. But INFJs avoid the drama. They say something like, "I've noticed the situation doesn't feel transparent," or "What you're asking conflicts with what you said before." There's no accusation. There's no demand. Just a quiet statement that says, "I see what's happening." That type of confrontation immediately derails manipulation because it pulls attention back to clarity and truth, away from confusion and coercion. Manipulators depend on fear, guilt, or pressure to silence objections. But INFJs use calm voice and direct phrasing to shift that power back. Their statements don't invite argument, they require something real. Because it isn't delivered in an emotional charge, manipulators aren't comfortable responding with their usual tactics. They may try to excuse it or deflect, but the INFJ's clarity and composure leave little room for misdirection. This balance, emotional presence without emotional overwhelm, is rare and effective. Manipulators expect instability, but INFJs give stability, clarity, and a refusal to play by the usual manipulative rules. Thing number 6. Detachment and the INFJ. Door slam. The INFJ is deeply loyal, often patient beyond reason. They'll give people the benefit of the doubt, try to understand motives, and forgive mistakes. But once they recognize sustained manipulation, something shifts, and it shifts for good. This shift is known as the INFJ door slam. It doesn't always look dramatic. There's no yelling, no long speeches. It's a quiet and total withdrawal of emotional access. The INFJ detaches completely, not out of anger, but from a deep sense of self-protection. Manipulators don't expect this. They count on emotional ties to keep their control alive. They rely on guilt, confusion, or obligation to stay in power. But the INFJ door slam cuts through that like a blade. It removes the one thing manipulators need most: access. What's dangerous here is not revenge, it's finality. The INFJ simply disappears from the emotional space. They may still see the manipulator in public or at work, but the warmth is gone. The openness is gone. The part of them that cared close. It's not about punishing the manipulator. It's about refusing to be a victim anymore. INFJs are slow to reach this point, but once they do, they don't second-guess it. They don't look back. This scares manipulators. They're used to people who keep giving chances. But INFJs don't give endless chances. They observe. They reflect. They give space. And then, if the pattern doesn't change, they walk away. And they don't come back. This kind of clarity is rare. It sends a strong message without a single raised voice. The INFJ silence becomes the consequence. Their absence becomes the boundary. Their peace becomes their protection. It's not that they stop caring, it's that they've cared too much for too long. When they finally slam that door, it means they've learned the truth. Not everyone deserves their empathy. And for a manipulator who thought they had the INFJ wrapped around their finger, that realization hits like a brick wall. INFJs are often misunderstood. Their quiet nature and deep empathy can make them seem like easy targets. But beneath that gentle surface is an unshakable strength, one that sees clearly, feels deeply, and acts decisively. They don't confront with noise. They confront with truth. They don't fight with anger. They respond with insight. And when pushed too far, they don't argue. They walk away, permanently. This is what makes INFJs dangerous to manipulators. They see through the game. They break the cycle. They protect their peace. If you're an INFJ, remember, your ability to see deeply is your greatest shield. It might take time to act, but when you do, it's powerful. Not just for you, but for anyone watching, wondering if they can be strong too. Thank you for watching. And if you've ever had to shut the door on manipulation, feel free to share your story in the comments. This space is for those who see clearly and choose themselves.